Hari Om Tat Sat. Swami Vimanananda here. And at the time of this recording, the sun is in the sign of Scorpio, which rules death, rebirth, transformation, all those occult window. We celebrate Halloween, the Day of the Dead. So I thought I'd like to share with you some thoughts and beliefs about reincarnation and past life recall. And I'm going to give an overview of these beliefs according to various religions and mystery schools. So, what is reincarnation? It's the belief that there is a soul which is eternal, which is separate from the body, and that when your body passes away, this soul or this jiva reincarnates subsequently into different bodies for various purposes. And this cycle goes on and on until one reaches purification or liberation, or until its karmic lessons are learned. And the idea was first recorded around 1000 BC to 1500 BC, or 500 BCE, that is before Christ. And undoubtedly, these beliefs existed way earlier. It's just that most of the religions had oral traditions. Definitely the pagans believed in it, and the ancient Dravidians in the south of India, who are as old as 5,000 years ago. So, and they were first recorded by the mystery schools. And the one I'd like to speak about now is the mystery school that existed in Greece. And these people were called the Orphics because they were based on the beliefs of Orpheus, or the story of Orpheus, who you might recall from Greek mythology. He went down and descended into the nether regions to retrieve his wife, Persephone. So this Orphic cult grew out of an even older cult that was really quite interesting, the Dionysian cult. And if you recall, Dionysus was the god of wine, women, and song, but also of wisdom. Now, warning, disclaimer, this is about to be a B-movie story here. I'm just a messenger. Dionysus was the son of Zeus, the thunder god, and Persephone, who was actually his daughter. So he had this baby, but his wife was Hera, or Juno, and she was very jealous and angry, and she did not want Dionysus to ascend to the throne as the rightful heir. So what she did, she went to the Titans, these ancient powerful beings, and asked the Titans to destroy this baby Dionysus. So what the Titans did, they cut up Dionysus into pieces and they ate him. Now, of course, when Zeus found out, he was furious. So he took a giant thunderbolt and he threw it at the Titans, and he burnt them all to ashes. And the Greeks believed that out of these ashes from Dionysus, that the Greek people were born. And of course, because they were part god from Dionysus and part ashes from the Titans, they're part material and part spiritual. So they believe that you have to reincarnate until at least 10 times until your body is purified, your soul is purified from that part which was Titan or material. And many great thinkers believe this. Ptolemy, Plato, the Alexandrian Greeks. You might recall that the Greeks occupied Egypt for a while and probably took some ideas from the Egyptians. Now, another interesting cult that believed in reincarnation was the Hermetics, or the Hermeticists. And they're based on this legendary figure named Hermes Trismegistus. And what he is famous for is the Emerald Tablet. And he's also known as, he's Greek Hermes. He's Thoth, was believed to have many incarnations. First, he was Thoth the Atlantean, and then he was Thoth of Egypt. Thoth is the Egyptian god of wisdom and writing and science and magic. So this Hermes character wrote something, inscribed it on an emerald tablet. And what he wrote was known as the doctrine of correspondences, as above, so below, as within, so without, and so forth. So the ancient Egyptians, apparently that's where the tablet was buried, in Egypt. And it was rediscovered by the Arabs, and it became the basis of alchemy and astrology. So these people, the Hermeticists, the believers, believed that Hermes had all these incarnations, and the reason was that his wisdom had to be carried on through future generations. So he has many incarnations and will incarnate into the future to relay this Hermetic wisdom. And later on in the early 1900s, a fellow named he was also believed to be, so he was in Atlantis, Egypt, Greece, and also the Arabs, who believed, rediscovered the tablet, and they believed that Idris, the Arabic prophet, was also a reincarnation of Hermes. And Hermes, as you recall, was also, as Thoth, he was a Greek god of communication and wisdom. So his writings were very influential, and his wisdom will continue to be generated and propagated into future generations. Now, what did the Christians believe? Well, that's controversial. The early Christians and the Gnostics believed in reincarnation. And remember, they coexisted with pagans who definitely believed it, or at least some of them did. Now, a scholar named Origen of Alexandria, who lived around 200 BC, he wrote about reincarnation. But apparently, there was the Council of Nicaea where all these bishops got together and they wanted to quantify and clarify the Christian doctrine. That was around 325 BC. And apparently these people nullified the belief and said that doesn't exist because it cannot coexist with the idea of the resurrection, where day of judgment, you rise up and you get a new body, and that's your body forever. So we don't know for sure, but there is some evidence or some interesting writings. Some say that John the Baptist was an incarnation of Elijah, and some say that Jesus was an incarnation of King David, or possibly Elisha, who was the son of Elijah. Now in Matthew 17:10-13, it says, and they're asking about, and his disciples asked him, saying, why then say the scribes that Elias must first come? And Jesus answered and said unto them, Elias truly shall first come and restore all things. But I say unto you that Elias is already come, and they knew him not. And then the disciples understood that he spake to them of John the Baptist. So that's some possible allusion to the idea that John the Baptist was Elijah. And here's the one that raises the hackles on my back. Job 1:21. Job said, naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. So why would Job say that he returns to a womb if there's not future incarnations? Well, moving on to Judaism. We don't know for sure what the ancient Jews believed. There are stories about heaven and hell. But definitely the medieval Kabbalists believed in reincarnation. And they kept the doctrine secret because they felt that people were not ready for this knowledge, or they would misuse it as an excuse to do whatever they want. Oh, I'll just reincarnate and it won't matter. But the really important belief that they have is called Gilgul. and there or Gilgulim, and it's about a giant wheel, and the wheel has the cycle of death, rebirth, death, etc. Youth, middle age, old age, death, etc., and rebirth. And the purpose of this, or all these reincarnations, is called tikkun olam. And it's the idea that we must help God. We are co-creators with God, and we must help God and the world, and we reincarnate until the world is repaired. This is not a perfect creation. We have to help it. And reincarnation allows these souls to reach higher and higher levels of evolution until the soul realizes its full potential and the world is repaired. Now, here's a sort of a unique belief I came across, that souls can fragment and they can manifest in multiple bodies across multiple lives. And that will speed up this process of world repair. The Kabbalists believe that the humans are sparks from the original flame, and that reincarnation helps perfect the aspects of the spark, again, working toward world redemption. And lastly, it helps people, this belief gives some people comfort, helps them understand all their struggles in terms of their past experiences. Now, the Muslims don't believe in reincarnation per se, except for a sect called the Druze, who's an offshoot, a mystical sect from southern Lebanon. And they believe that reincarnation occurs instantly after you die. And I'll talk a little bit about some accounts that of children, Druze children that remembered where they used to live and members of their past life family, etc. Moving on now to the Buddhists, they believe in transmigration, that you can reincarnate as a human, an animal, or in one of the 6 realms, according to your character and all the merit that you've accrued. And these 6 realms are as follows. You can reincarnate as a god or a deva. You can be a human who's got good and bad mixed in, if you will. You can reincarnate in the animal kingdom. Say you were really misbehaved in a glutton and, like that. If you're super bad, you can reincarnate as a demon. And then you can be a hungry ghost. And the hungry ghosts are those that are emotionally unsatisfied. And they come back to their place where they lived and try to get the satisfaction they never had. Or the bottom, the hell world, of which there are many levels. And of course, the Buddhists, as you know, go around looking when a Lama dies or a Dalai Lama. They try to find a baby or a child that was a reincarnation of that Dalai Lama. Now, the Buddhists don't believe in an Atman or an individual soul per se, but they say what reincarnates is just pure consciousness. It's as if you took a candle flame and you lit another candle when the first candle was about to go out. Now, if you're interested in what happens according to them after death and before rebirth, there's some excellent books, Tibetan Book of the Dead, or The Great Liberation, as it's really called. And there's a very good translation by Robert Thurman. And it gives very detailed instructions on how to navigate the Bardo plane, which is the plane between death and rebirth, and how to try to realize your Buddha nature while you're in there, and how to avoid rebirth, and so on. And now we come to the Hindus. And Hindus believe in this giant wheel of samsara, a cycle of deaths and rebirths, until you find a method that will take you upward instead of around, get off the wheel and get on the stick, and break you out of this illusory cycle that you're a being or an individual being and unite with the cosmic consciousness. And the soul is called a jiva or a jivatma, And all it consists of is basically your individual soul, which has your memory tracks and your karmas. And will keep reincarnating until you find moksha or liberation. Now I'm going to hold up this graphic, go into some detail, and I hope you can see it. Okay, so what we have on the top is samskaras, and the samskaras are the subconscious impressions or rather the unconscious impressions that you carry with from your previous lives, from all the events that happened. And then moving downward on the other side there, this creates vasanas, and vasanas are subconscious tendencies or habits that are a product of those experiences or memories, unconscious buried memories. And then these habit patterns create the next circle down, which is vrittis. And vrittis are waves or fluctuations in your mind stuff. They're thoughts, basically, and desires and aversions, things you like and things you don't like. And based on those, you're going to take some actions. Okay, I'm hungry, I'm going to go eat. I want to see Europe, I'm going to go to Europe. I don't like this person, I'm going to do something nasty. Whatever it is, you act in the earth plane. And these actions create future karmas. The merit or dismerit, let's say, just say difficult or positive situations of karma. And these karmas then go into a tank, and the tank is, again, your unconscious or samskaras, or your tendencies, the things you did over and over and that you remember, or the ones that left deep and lasting impressions. So that just creates this endless wheel. So you need a method, whatever that method is, to transcend that wheel. Okay. So once again, reviewing, the soul is immortal. It's born and enfold. Here's what the Hindu scriptures say about it. The Shveta Asvatara Upanishad, which were the writings of the sages that were revealed in deep states of meditation. It says, the soul is born and unfolds in a body with dreams and desires and the food of life. And then it is born in new bodies in accordance with its former works. So what happens at death? Well, death is just a regrouping. And each incarnation, take some hope here. Each incarnation you've learned, and it's going definitely guaranteed to be more balanced and more positive internally than the last one. So when your body is just a bunch of tattvas or elements, earth, water, fire, air, and ether. And when your physical body passes, these just dissolve. But then you enter into the clear light, you get the clear vision of the divine. And then, because we can't sustain it, maybe we haven't practiced meditation enough, whatever the method is, or method for knowing who we really are cosmically. So then you lose it and you start wandering around in this kind of semi-dream state. And this Bardo plane, and then you go into this cosmic movie theater, and you're going to be watching all these scenes, and maybe something attracts you, a place you'd like to live, or a person that you'd like to meet, or something you'd like to learn, something like that. And whoops, boom, you get sucked into the next life. There you are in that place. And you choose your parents in that environment based on the desire to fulfill whatever karma that was. Now, a brief word about astrological factors ruling these things. You can get clues about your past and future lives from your chart. Pluto rules the death of the physical body, but also the sign on the eighth house and the ruler of the eighth house might give you clues about that. Neptune rules the astral body and the Bardo states, those in-between states, or your intuition about those, the dream states. And also the 12th house and the ruler of the 12th house will give you clues about that. And your future is ruled by the planet Uranus. And Uranus rules rebirth, your future life, how you will find your freedom. And also the ruler of the 11th house and the ruler of and the 11th house will give you clues about that. Now, reincarnation comes in sets of 7 lifetimes. You have 7 lifetimes. It's called a karmic egg. And each lifetime has a different nature, but they all have the same rising sign. And where your sun is, your zodiac sign, what's your sign, your sun sign, that indicates the main goal that you've been working toward all those 7 lifetimes. So what about those lifetimes? Well, the lifetime right before was lunar. What do you remember from your former life? The life before that was of a Mercury nature. What did you learn? The life before that was of a Venus nature. Who did you love? How did you love? What was your idea of beauty? And how did you give unselfishly? Now, the life before that was of a Mars nature. What did you fight for? Life before that was of a Jupiter nature. What gave you joy? And what did you learn most? What was your philosophy or your religion? And finally, the lastmost life was Saturnian. What was your most limiting factor? So that gives some thought for pondering. Well, is there proof for reincarnation? Not scientifically per se, but there are scientific researchers who have studied this. One was Brian Weiss. He was a famed Miami psychiatrist, and he was hypnotizing people in the attempt to see if they can remember traumas and then heal those traumas. So he had some anecdotal stories of people remembering things, traumas from their past lives, and he wrote it in the book called Many Lives, Many Masters. And then I think it was in the 80s, maybe, there was another researcher in Virginia, Ian Stevenson, and he went around to different countries and also America and interviewed children who claimed to remember past lives, or these prodigies who, like Mozart, could play at 3, or thought there were children who remembered previous addresses and so on, and could speak in other languages that they'd clearly never heard, things that they possibly couldn't have known. And what he found was about the Druze. These Druze children, there was one in particular, remembered living in another city. I think the kid was 7 or something. He'd never been to that city. He knew the exact street address of where he thought he had lived. He knew the names of the family members that he had lived there before. And so they went and checked it out. And the people living there said, yes, definitely that happened. How did he? Yeah, we have a daughter named this, and how did he know? And what the Druze do, they believe it so thoroughly that they will then accept the person that remembered their past life into their own family. It's very interesting. So what if you would like to remember your past life? Have you ever had an intuition about it? Maybe you attune to a certain movie and you say, that looks awfully familiar. I feel very comfortable where that's set, and maybe I lived in the 1800s. I have a friend that thought he used to wear a pocket watch and might spelunk for rocks. He thought he was living in the 1800s gold rush. And I myself have had flashes, being in the deep south, walking under those oak trees and so on, really feeling familiar, having never been there before. Maybe you get it through deja vu. Hypnosis, as we mentioned. They actually have people that do past life regressions, specifically to try to recall that, past lives. Maybe just by psych, you're afraid of water. Well, maybe you drowned in your past life. Dreams are a super way to get some insight into that. Maybe you were in Tibetan marching processions and this dream keeps recurring. You get clues from there. If you're skilled and you know how, you can go up to the Akashic records. The Akashic records are on a very high level astral plane, and that's the book of life, if you will. It's where everything that ever happened ever to anybody is recorded. So your past lives are going to be in there. You could tell yourself before you go to sleep, yes, I'd like to go up and read that Akashic record. And lastly, as we mentioned, you can figure it out from your chart, possibly. And just to close out, there is a method in yoga. It's called degradation of the senses. And you do it over a period of a week, and it involves an intense sadhana or discipline where you withdraw from the world, basically, and then you're going to do a ritual that will cause you to remember. And this particular method, to sum it up quickly, is that you gradually reduce your eating and your sleeping over this time period until the last day you are not eating or sleeping hardly at all. And then you perform the ritual, which, if you need further information, a guru can teach you this method. But the mantra to be used there is Hari Om. And if you repeat this mantra, Hari Om, Hari Om, Spirit, awaken my memory track. At the end of the ritual, you should see a blue symbol flash that will reveal something about your past life. So in conclusion, nothing to worry about. You're immortal. You're learning. Next life's going to be better. Hopefully this life too. Next life is always an improvement. And may you be blessed to remember your past lives, if you will. Learn those lessons, master those lessons, live in joy. And may you be blessed to remember your cosmic, unified self. Hari Om Tat Sat.
Nanda la la